On May 18, 2012 at 0630 hours, Forward Operating Base Bostik in Afghanistan came under attack by indirect fire. Sergeant JaBraun Knox was operating the gun line when incoming rounds hit a 155mm artillery firing pit. Sergeant Knox succumbed to his wounds and was pronounced dead at the scene.
JaBraun is certainly a hero, and I'm so glad his story is able to be told. 3 years ago, JaBraun made a decision to join the Army. In January of 2009, he left for basic training, completed his specialty training as a 13 Bravo, and was then stationed at Fort Lewis in the state of Washington. After only a short time in Washington, he learned he would deploy to Iraq in July, only a couple days after his 21st birthday. Upon hearing the news, I flew out to Washington to spend time with him before he left. On the second day of being there, he proposed marriage, and I of course said yes. He was scheduled to be in Iraq for a year, but was able to come home 4 months into his deployment for 2 weeks. During this time, on November 9th, 2009, we were married at the Fort Wayne Courthouse. 2 days later, he left to go back to Iraq for the remaining months. Once he was back in the States, we got an apartment in Olympia, Washington, where we would live for a year until his next deployment. That year was filled with such special memories that I will never forget. The most special memory was finding out we were expecting our first child, Braylon, who was born October 27th, 2012. JaBraun was nothing short of an amazing father for the 2 short weeks he was able to spend with our son before he deployed to Afghanistan on November 13th. Then, on April 12th, around 7 p.m., the doorbell rang. It was JaBraun. He had kept this a surprise from everyone except his father and sister. He was home for 2 weeks, where we were able to spend time as a family and spend time with our other family and friends. When his 2 weeks were up, I remember the tearful drive to the airport and him grabbing my hand and telling me we were in the home stretch now. And he was already halfway done with the deployment and he would soon be home. And 6 days ago, I received the worst news a wife of a military man could possibly get. I was pulled out of school and told to come home. When I walked in the door, there stood 2 military men dressed in their Class A's. My heart instantly broke. They told me to have a seat and they informed me of JaBraun's passing. He was killed in action on May 18th in Afghanistan. For the 6 years I have known JaBraun, I have learned a lot about him. It is hard for me to find just one characteristic that describes him as a man because he was such a wonderful father, husband, brother, son, grandson, nephew, cousin, and friend. His smile and laughter was contagious. He was always full of life and energy. His compassion for people was evident by his willingness to help anyone in need, whether they were going through a rough time and needed to laugh, or whether they needed his muscle, which he was always willing to show off. He was nothing short of a hero and will never be forgotten. As for the future, my son and I are planning on staying in the area, close to family and friends. I will continue to substitute teach until I find a permanent teaching job. His family and I are taking this one day at a time, and no 2 days are the same. At this time, I would also like to thank the community from the bottom of my heart for all the love and support they have shown us in this time of grief. The outpouring of people wanting and willing to help is unbelievable. We are truly grateful for everything.
JaBraun was very proud to be in the military. He never could say enough about it. I remember when he went to his advanced training in Oklahoma, he called me afterwards and he said, "Mom, I'm one of 6 that got picked to go to the special striker unit." And I was like, "What does that mean?" And he goes, "Well, you know, when you see the entourages get blown up by roadside bombs," he goes, "that's going to be me." And I'm like, "You're sick. Why are you so happy?" I'm like, as a mom, I'm like thinking, congratulations, what do you say? But he was always very proud of what he did. And we have gotten a lot of messages from his battle buddies from both his stay in Iraq and Afghanistan, and And I've been overwhelmed with how many of them talk about what a great friend he was and how he really helped them through things.